Hey dude, do you know that there is a huge amount of maths which is involved in the story of Rama or the Ramayana? Yes, I'm going to tell about the story by the Valmiki Ramayana. Do you know the different stories in the stories about this Adam's bridge and the Hanuman jumping from Rameshwaram to Sri Lanka, and about the elephant which has a 4 tusks, and even the Ravana which who has 10 heads? I'm going to tell each of them and take this story. The story begins with the Ram Setu. Ram Setu is also known as the in Western countries about Adam's bridge. I'm going to tell why the 2 different names for the same bridge. Yes, this Ram Setu which was mentioned in Valmiki Ramayana, that Vanaras actually built it. While building it, they built in the ratio of 1:10. But when the NASA saw it in the satellite, they told that that is the ratio of the 10:1. It is also in the same. When they actually calculated it out, it is has a width of 3.4 kilometers and has a length of about 34 kilometers. Yes, that is actually the ratio of 1:10. Do you know who built it? Yes, in the Vanara Sena, there was a chief engineer who is known as the Nala, who is extremely intelligent. So by using his intelligence and the engineering knowledge, he actually built it out. Even the present best of best engineers cannot build it because they are all very primitive compared to him. And I'm going to tell about it. Why it is known as Adam's bridge? It is known as Adam's bridge because even in the story they have created that he actually crossed it, but they do not mention how it is actually created, because that story actually happened after the story of this Ramayana story. And I am going to tell how many years ago Ramayana actually happened soon again. Just keep on watching. Say this one. They have actually mentioned in the Ramayana, the Saint Valmiki, that is Guru Valmiki, mentioned about that he actually jumped from Rameshwaram to Sri Lanka. When he jumped, you know that they have 2 stories about it. In Tulsidas Ramayana, he has mentioned that he is godlike, and using the anti-gravity technology or using the huge amount of strength, he actually floated out. But in the Valmiki Ramayana, he is normally human-like, but he jumped using this actually natural energy. If you want to jump that much energy, we know that Newton's law, for every action equal and opposite reaction, he must pull the rock with the same energy to jump for about a 34 kilometer distance. To jump that, he must put the energy of about more than thousands of elephants, not just thousands and thousands of elephants energy he has to jump from the Rameshwaram to the actual Sri Lanka. And I'm going to tell you one more. That is the story how it is, how many years ago the Ramayana actually happened. Do you know this? This is a 4-tusked elephant. This 4-tusked elephant not present today, but this is nothing but another species of elephant. This is known as the Gomfoter. Gomfoter are not elephant, but they are elephant-like animals, and they existed about 1.5 million years ago or 15 lakh years ago. And so since they are existed so many years ago, even Ramayana has actually happened so many years ago, and it is the actual evidence that he has actually mentioned even different plants and trees which were present in the Ramayana's time. But when you go, the archaeologists and paleontologists dig them up, they also told that 1.5 million years ago plants existed. They actually matched to the exactly Valmiki Ramayana he actually wrote. And do you know the story of the Ravana who has 10 heads, and why he has 10 heads? I'm going to tell why he has 10 heads. And the 10 heads he has is, do you know that to read a book, he has a very extreme knowledge of Vedas. How much knowledge he has means he has the knowledge of space, time, energy, and even about the cosmos. He can travel to different realms. The different realms are Patala Loka, Nagaloka, and Yamaloka. Yamaloka where actually Yama lives, and Nagaloka where different snake gods live, and Patala Loka where actual demons live. Do you know how he actually traveled? He has a huge amount of knowledge. Huge means extremely huge amount of knowledge about thousands of books, and to read them out, one head is not enough for him. So he actually meditated for Brahma and actually took 10 heads so he can read so much knowledge. Do you know how to read all of them? Take this one. If you read in the maximum speed, in 1 hour you can clear out a book, and I am telling about the maximum speed. So with this 10 heads you can clear out 10 books in a year, and after reading thousands of years, he actually covered different Vedas and gained the knowledge of extreme amount of knowledge which were not possible by normal humans or normal demons. And I'm going to tell even more things. That is, do you know about the arrows? Yes, I'm going to tell how the arrows work. Arrows are actually not going the straight way, and they actually go in the way of projectile motion. And this projectile is nothing but in physics it comes in a lot of calculation. To do those many calculations, they actually know a lot of knowledge about maths and physics, so they can actually rank it out in the projectile motion and calculate it and hit it out in the above position to the correct point. And do you know that that why there's so many stones and the width is so much huge, and I'm going to tell it out. Take a bucket of water. In that bucket of water you took corks, and after put the corks, you found that corks are floating away from each other. You put more number of corks, and after putting more number of corks, you found that the distance between them are very little from the previous distance, because each cork will prevent the other from floating a lot more distance, so each one prevent and make them together. So they have built so much huge big bridge, because after putting so many rocks of floating rocks, they actually remain together and make a compound bridge, which is actually a beam of bridge. And to have that engineering, so much was the engineering technology. Do you know that they have constructed the bridge in so many layers? They have first put the rocks, the big logs of wood, and the logs of wood they have actually put, since due to the 1.5 million years, they have actually converted into coal, and the coal is actually found in the earth, which is also in the same process. When the big trees bury inside the earth, the coal get created. The same coal is created in the bottommost layer of the Ramset or the Ramas bridge, and the floating stones were above it. And do you know more and more things about it? I'm going to tell you one more things. That is, do you know about the Pushpaka Vimana? Yes, this was a Vimana, and which was completely different from present aeroplanes, because present aeroplanes go in a fuel, but this go in a technology of anti-gravity, which is the future technology. Even present scientists will keep on inventing out. To know this one, they have actually have a huge calculations in trigonometry, calculus and geometry. After putting so many calculations, they can generate a huge amount of energy, and they can lift out the Pushpaka Vimana. That is the Vimana where Ravana was actually traveling. Do you know the another evidence of the Ravanas? Yes, that Ravana, the 10-headed Ravana, actually live in the Sigaria. Sigaria was present in a mountain, and there was no stairs to it, and there were actually plain. To travel, there is only possibility was actually, there was a huge amount of constructing cities. The city was very beautiful about it, the palace was, and to go into that palace, there was no possible, because there are no stairs around the mountain. So since there were no stairs, it is actually true that they have actually used the anti-gravity technology. They floated on the palace, and they have actually constructed. They have even used the marbles, not marbles, they have used the granite. Granite is the heaviest stone, so since it is heaviest stone, they need a huge amount of technology to cut it, and they have that technology. Do you know one more thing, that how many Sainya was there with the Ravanas? Yes, with the Vanaras. Yes, Vanaras, they are said in the Ramayana that there are actually 33 crore Vanaras, or the 330 million Vanaras, because so many Vanaras are there. They actually came around the world, and he actually mentioned about they have actually come from North Pole, Europe and Japan, and how they actually came. He has actually mentioned that the place where actually the sun never sets. In North Pole it never sets, and many places are there which always the day will be there. And do you know another one in the Japan, the first sun rises place, and from there, and the Europe place in which the completely filled with ices, and it was beautiful place. And he told that all of them came because of the Sugriva told them out. And do you know one more thing, that actually Indrajit, the son of the Ravana and the most powerful son of the Ravana, he actually killed 6 crore or 67 million Vanaras in a single day. After killing in a single day using his Brahmastra, it was also evidence that he actually killed so many people, and they were all different natures of people. The actual Vanaras are humanoid monkeys. They are not completely monkeys. They are different species of humans. They just have a tail, and the mouth is actually little bit bulged. And do you know that actually there was a Susena was the actual one who there in the Vanara Sena. He actually gave medicines to actually cure the Vanaras. So the Vanaras remained the more in number. And I keep on telling more and more stories like this. I'm going to tell about the maths, and you also need to know about the maths to build a new engineering like technologies like this one, the very big bridge. Therefore follow my channel. I keep on telling them. Bye.